82 PGA Tour victories, 15 major championships. Tiger Woods conquered every legendary course on earth. Augusta, Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, Torrey Pines. But there is one course, an hour from where he was born, where he hit his very first professional shot at 16 years old, that has never, not once, let him win. This is the story of that course. There is a canyon in the hills above Los Angeles where the Santa Monica Mountains meet the Pacific. Hidden in this canyon, behind walls of eucalyptus and oak, lies one of the most celebrated golf courses ever built. This is the Riviera Country Club, designed in 1927 by the brilliant George C. Thomas Jr. Riviera was carved into the natural contours of the land, following the ridges, the barrancas, and the ancient drainage channels that wind through these hills. Thomas believed golf courses should look as if God created them. At Riviera, he came close. For nearly a century, Riviera has attracted the greatest names in golf and in Hollywood. It has witnessed Ben Hogan at his most dominant. It has watched Tiger Woods at his most frustrated. It has hosted U.S. Opens, legendary playoffs, and some of the most heartbreaking collapses the sport has ever seen. And in 2031, the U.S. Open returns here for the first time in over 80 years. This is the story of Hogan's Alley, the most glamorous golf course in America. When Riviera opened its doors in 1927, Los Angeles was the center of the world. The movie industry was booming. Silent films were giving way to talkies, and the city's wealthy elite needed somewhere to play. Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford were among the first members. Humphrey Bogart joined soon after. Walt Disney played here. Dean Martin partied both on and off the course. Harpo Marx kept the lounge laughing. And a young Elizabeth Taylor trained here to ride horses for her role in National Velvet. But Riviera was never just a playground for celebrities. George Thomas designed something extraordinary. The course measures 7,322 yards, par 71, and it features some of the most unusual holes in championship golf. The sixth hole, a short par 3, has a pot bunker right in the center of the green, not beside it, in it. Thomas put it there deliberately, and 100 years later, architects are still debating whether it's genius or madness. Then there's the 10th hole, a short par 4, only 315 yards. You can drive the green, but between you and the flag sits a deep barranca, a natural canyon that swallows anything short. It's one of the most tempting and terrifying holes in golf. The Los Angeles Open first came to Riviera in 1929, just 2 years after the course opened. It was one of the richest events on tour, attracting every top player in the country. But it would take 2 more decades before the man who would define this course arrived. Ben Hogan was not a natural golfer. He grew up poor in Fort Worth, Texas, fighting a vicious hook that plagued him for years. He nearly quit the game multiple times, but through sheer willpower and obsessive practice, Hogan transformed himself into the most precise ball striker the sport had ever seen. And when he arrived at Riviera in January 1947, something clicked. Hogan won the LA Open that week with a tournament record score of 280. He didn't just win, he dominated. He came back the following year, January 1948, and won it again. Back-to-back LA Open titles. And then, just 4 months later, the US Open came to Riviera. It was Hogan's first US Open victory, and he made it look effortless. His final score of 276 shattered the previous record by 5 strokes, a mark that stood for nearly 2 decades. 3 victories at Riviera in just 18 months, 21 under par across 3 tournaments. The sportswriters stopped calling it the Riviera Country Club. They called it Hogan's Alley. Then came February 2nd, 1949. Hogan and his wife Valerie were driving home to Fort Worth on a foggy Texas highway when a Greyhound bus crossed the center line. In the split second before impact, Hogan threw himself across his wife to protect her. That decision saved both their lives. The steering column was driven through the driver's seat. But Hogan was shattered. A fractured pelvis, a broken collarbone, a broken ankle. Doctors said he might never walk again, let alone play golf. "11 months later, Ben Hogan walked onto the first tee at Riviera for the 1950 LA Open. The crowd was stunned. His legs were wrapped in bandages. He could barely stand for 18 holes. He shot rounds of 73, 69, 69, and 69, and finished tied for first with Sam Snead. He lost the playoff, but that day was never about winning. Hogan had come back to the one place on earth that felt like his. And the ovation he received walking up the 18th fairway that Sunday is still considered one of the most emotional moments in golf history. For 40 years, Hogan's legend loomed over Riviera. No one could challenge it. Then in February 1992, a 16-year-old walked onto the first tee. February 1992, a 16-year-old amateur from Cypress, California walked onto the first tee at Riviera Country Club and prepared to hit his very first shot as a PGA Tour player. His name was Tiger Woods. He'd been coming to Riviera since he was a child, sitting in the gallery with his father Earl, watching the greatest players in the world. Now he was one of them, or at least he was trying to be. Woods shot 72 and 75 that week and missed the cut. But everyone who was there knew they had witnessed the beginning of something historic. Within 4 years, Tiger Woods would turn professional and begin the most dominant stretch the sport had ever seen. 82 PGA Tour victories, 15 major championships. He conquered Augusta, Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, Torrey Pines. Every legendary course fell before him, except one. Tiger Woods has played at Riviera more than any other course on the PGA Tour. He has competed here as a teenager, as the #1 player in the world, and as the tournament host. And in all those years, across all those rounds, Tiger Woods has never won at Riviera. Not once. The course where he made his debut, the course an hour from where he was born, the course that bears his tournament's name, has simply refused to surrender to the greatest player of his generation. The irony is profound. Since 2017, Tiger has hosted the Genesis Invitational at Riviera through his TGR Foundation. He hands the trophy to the champion every year. He walks these fairways as the tournament's host, its ambassador, its biggest star. But he has never held that trophy himself. Other players have joked about it. Tiger hasn't. For a man who has conquered every challenge golf has ever thrown at him, Riviera remains the one mountain he could not climb. Maybe it's the kikuyu grass, notoriously thick and difficult to play from. Maybe it's the canyon setting, where the wind swirls unpredictably through the barrancas. Maybe it's simply that Riviera, this course built by a genius in 1927, plays tricks that even Tiger's brilliance cannot solve. Whatever the reason, Hogan's Alley belongs to Hogan, not to Tiger. If Tiger couldn't conquer Riviera, who could? In recent years, Riviera has produced a new generation of champions. In 2021, hometown hero Max Homa, born and raised in nearby Burbank, won his first Genesis Invitational. In 2022, young Chilean Joaquin Niemann dominated with a tournament record 63 in the final round. Jon Rahm claimed the title in 2023, Hideki Matsuyama in 2024, and Ludwig Aberg in 2025. Each champion left Riviera with something more than a trophy. They left with the knowledge that their name now sits alongside Hogan's in the history of this course. In January 2025, the Palisades Fire tore through the hills above Riviera, forcing the tournament to relocate temporarily. But the course survived. The barrancas that have challenged golfers for a century also served as natural fire breaks. And when the smoke cleared, Riviera stood as it always has, impeccable and timeless in its canyon, waiting for the next chapter. This February, the Genesis Invitational returns to Riviera Country Club for its 97th year, a $20 million purse, a signature event field of the world's best players, and the enduring question, who will write the next chapter at Hogan's Alley? In 2031, the U.S. Open comes back to Riviera for the first time since Hogan won it in 1948. 83 years between U.S. Opens at the same course. 83 years of history waiting to be honored. Whatever happens, one thing is certain. This canyon in the hills above Los Angeles will continue to test, to humble, and to crown the greatest golfers on earth. That is what Riviera does. That is what it has always done. If you enjoyed this journey through Hogan's Alley, subscribe and hit the bell. We're telling the stories behind golf's greatest courses. The next one is already in the works.